Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this YouTube live with regards to the veils corroding between the worlds that we sometimes glimpse or sometimes we feel. And this is all about the messages, the multiple messages I received last night when Mark Windows was on the Richie Allen radio show. Remarkable. It was like I was taken aback because I had no idea that Mark had this kind of experience in his life, and he was in touch with Jerry, and I can't remember the lady's name, Sweeney, and all of these people now who are now talking more and more. I just want to first of all say that in my time, when I started at 38 years old, I was thrown into this in the deep end, and everything that I learned was basically hands-on. There were times when some of my mentors would give me an explanation to what had happened, but I was never actually given format I had to watch. So if I was working along with a shaman, which I used to do often, I would watch, observe, and take note. There was never, I can tell you this is a fact now, there was never any shaman that ever wanted to I don't know about many shamans, but what I do know about them is that when they see something in somebody, they will choose them, and they will have them as somebody who they want to pass their knowledge on to. That never happened to me. They never looked at me in that way whatsoever. There was one shaman, however, that I did know who looked upon a beautiful looking woman and wanted to teach her, which was fascinating. So in the shamanic realms of understanding, there is light and dark. There is dark energy. I worked alongside a shamanic lady who worked with dark magic, and I understood dark magic to be completely different to what the spiritual community was talking about dark magic. And what I understood by this was that if you want to go into the dark and retrieve that person who's in the dark, then you have to be in that energy of dark. You've got to be used to it. You've got to know it. Totally makes sense to me. So when somebody says, I deal with dark energy, in my understanding now, it's okay. So you understand that. Like, I deal with dark energy. Some people may call me dark, but actually, when I was doing the work full time, I used to go into situations, if you've read my books, where you go into a kind of darkness and you find the consciousness, the original soul consciousness, and you pull them away from that darkness, and you can change that person completely. But then again, that person can go back into that darkness through influences, through negativity, through fear, through worry, through panic, through many different things. So my work started with a lady telling me that I was a healer. And I said, I'm not a healer. And she says, well, what could be more beautiful than healing somebody and not even knowing? Isn't that a gift? And that got me thinking. So then I went to one of my mentors, who was a Wiccan high priestess. She laid down Susie when I was married to her, and she showed me how she healed. It didn't really resonate with me at all. I just thought what she was doing was kind of nonsense. It didn't make any sense. I couldn't see anything positive in that. So I started looking upon other healers, and I started looking at modalities, lots of modalities. So I really embraced pranic healing for a while. And then I realized that pranic healing is pranic, the master Kokosui. I pronounce it wrong every time, but this is the person who brought to light this healing, which basically means that he needed some kind of name to be able to put to what he was doing. Basically, he was just a healer, just like I was with the teacher. So all of these names like pure energy healing, Reiki, whatever it is, they all funnel to the same thing, which is pure healing, which is love, which is light, which is positivity, which clears the darkness away. And fundamentally, that's what it's all about. Now, I find it fascinating because I've read for a lot of priests, and one particular priest in Ireland used to tell me, after I finished a healing session on him, that, you've just performed an exorcism. And it's like, what do you mean? Well, you've cleared out the demon within my mind. And okay, I didn't even think anything about it. And we sat and had a coffee. I remember I sat having a coffee because he'd just been expelled, or he was a lovely guy, absolutely genuine, lovely guy. He touched a child on the head, and it was the time where everybody was realizing in Ireland that there was a lot of bad stuff went on in churches. So everybody was like, he touched a child on his head, okay, and a woman complained. And he came to me in bits. He was crying. He was lost. He was all over the place. And I read first of all for him just to see what was going on. He felt genuine, and I read. Sure enough, he was a kind, loving, caring person. So I gave him a healing session. We went and sat down. Anyway, after that, he was talking about exorcisms, and he was saying that he'd done some studying. He went to the Vatican for a short while, came back again, and he said to me, and something that resonated with me, that I think the Vatican and the church knows about all of these entities and darkness and how it influences from day to day. And when we talk about demonic entities to me is something very rare. And I get beat up for this all the time by a lot of people. They mock me and they don't want to talk to me, because demonic entity is a different frequency than attachment, right? And then what is attachment and what is demonic energy? But going back to this fine point that I'd like to make, why is it that church always sends that person to a psychiatrist? Why is that? Why is it then that is determined that this person from a psychiatrist says that this person is of imbalance, chemical imbalance? And guess what they give them? They give them drugs. So the church itself is actually feeding demonic and different entities, because as we all know, you all probably know this, when you are of unbalance, the chances are your thought patterns are negative. You feel bad, you feel fear, you feel all the worst things that can happen. Your partner is horrible, is cheating on me, or all the bad things that you can think of, which relate to negative energy. So I call all of that negative energy. And if you've ever watched my YouTube channel over the years and read my books, very rarely do I bring up demonic entities. Very rarely do I bring up attachments. I will talk about them, but not in the way that a lot of people are doing. And I think there's a double-edged sword here. It is really important to talk about negative energy, but I don't think it's as important to talk about demonic energy, because I don't feel deep in my heart that demonic entity is like everywhere. I do believe that there is light and dark, and I do believe that there is attachments that we can have to make us think negatively. I do believe 100% that it's very easy to clear that away. And so I've seen this, and I've seen people go from being a beautiful soul to an aggressive soul. I've seen alcohol change them. So everybody knows that alcohol is not good, and it causes great harm and can cause you to do something that you wouldn't normally do. So therefore, what is this? Is it an entity? Is it an influence? Is it you? I mean, there's a point here as well that I want to tackle. We can't, I struggle when I hear people say that every negative thought is an attachment of some kind of demonic or evil or otherworld entity, because then that takes that actually then says, well, you know what, I've got a free card to be able to do whatever I want. Look, people do what people do. People, not everybody is pure of heart. Not everybody in this spacesuit is of consciousness of love and light. Not everybody. So you can't say that everybody who has a negative thought is being attacked by an entity or influenced by an entity. No, we have bad thoughts all the time, sometimes because of what we see in the world. So, but there is truth in this, that darkness spends 24 hours a day trying to lower the frequency of the world. Because if you lower the frequency of the world, those from other veils, that energy is their frequency. So this frequency on this planet is completely different from many other frequencies. So you break down the veil of this frequency, and then you can change the energy of humanity because of that, what you break down. So imagine that there's a wall between you and a load of crazy folk. If that wall comes down, then your area is going to be filled with crazy people. So there is, and always has been, in my understanding. That's why I got involved with reading for people from CERN. I read for at least 3 people, at least 2. One of them said they were from CERN. And you've got to understand this as well. As a psychic reader, we never ask for people's name. We never say to somebody, oh, I want to know who you are now. We would give a reading and then they just go. And that's how it was. There were times that somebody would say, I'd love to sit and have a coffee with you. There were times that I'd walk down the stairs and somebody would give me some information as they were leaving. But my work was always keep your gob shut afterwards, and that's it. Let it go. So when I bring back memory of people from CERN, I don't know who they are. I wouldn't even recognize them till this day, because I didn't even recognize somebody who I read for 2 weeks after, because you learn to switch off. So you either got to believe me or you don't, or this is all bullshit. So I share with you everything that I remember, and not everything. Certain things I don't, but I do push the boat out a little bit, and then sometimes think maybe I shouldn't have said that, because if this person then, but I never mention names unless I know them personally and they're okay with me saying something. So the priest that I talk about in Ireland, I don't know his name, but we sat, we talked. He came a few times. I had lots of priests coming to me. I had nuns coming to me. I had people who came to me who were at the highest level of these scientific studies, and they'd work in laboratories and they'd come for readings. So most of my work thereafter was going abroad and helping people in situations where nobody else could help. Now, a lot of people don't talk about this, but you would only understand this if you were full-time healer. You'd only understand it because you'd feel the energy and understand that there are negative energies in certain places, and those energies have different frequencies of, let's say, if you, I've mentioned this many times before, years ago, that I noticed that in pubs, there would always be somebody drinking and then they drunk to excess. And why is that? Because of an influence of spirit, which I call trapped in between two worlds. I call spirit in denial. So that spirit would have been an alcoholic and died and not entered into our home world, which is the spirit world. And he's kind of stuck in between two worlds and still believes it's alive, still believes it's you and me, but wants to feed from energy. So, you know, what does that mean? Well, do you want to feed from somebody's energy where they're all crying and fighting? Or do you want to feed for somebody's energy who's laughing and joking and dancing around? Well, maybe you don't. Maybe you hate that energy, and maybe you're more comfortable in negative energy. So you feed from energy every day. So when we talk about feeding, what we mean is that the frequency that we vibrate at is either low or high. So when people start to drink in a pub, their frequency changes, and it becomes an antenna, which is a very, very low, dense energy. Even though you go through the process of feeling great, and then normally what you do is you carry on drinking, then you feel sick afterwards and you can't remember anything and you feel bad. And a lot of the times you don't know what you did. And that is the perfect example of opening up to a certain frequency that negative entities feed from or come close to. So, where else are these frequencies? Churches, certain homes that were frequented with very negative energy, abuse, killings, and rituals. So I've been to so many. I've been to thousands of houses throughout my 12 years, and felt what reasons these things happened and why. So sometimes you can die an awful death. I mentioned this one particular where I went to Ibiza, and the lady couldn't understand why the house was weird and what was going on. And she wanted me, she didn't tell me, but I went into a specific bedroom, closed my eyes, and I felt the spirit trapped in between two worlds. And he was on the bed and his mouth was foaming. So I did the house cleansing. I said, it's all cleared now. And she says, what did you feel? And I says, well, after the sage, and it's all gone and he's gone now. I said it was a he, and I showed her the bedroom, and I said he was vomiting, and there was white coming out of his mouth, and he looked like he was dead and poisoned. Some weeks later, she said, you're never going to guess what? I spoke to the neighbor, and a long time ago, there was a man who was using a kind of chemical powder, and he was throwing it everywhere on the field, and he digested it because a lot of it went into his mouth, and that night he died of poisoning. So you see that energy can still be there. Now, that isn't an entity. That is our spirit trapped in between two worlds with a dense energy that we have not been able to move forward into the spirit world. That is a different energy. Now, these spirit trapped in between two worlds are spirits which don't realize, or they don't want to go into our home world. So it could be either or. Could be an accident, and then they're just kind of trapped and they're in that same energy. That's why a lot of the times you see ghosts coming at a certain time, because that certain time it's replaying itself all the time. And when you're trapped in between two worlds, there's no space and time. But it seems to be that on a road, for instance, if somebody's been killed, it's been known in Halifax where taxi drivers pick somebody up and then they've disappeared in the car, and many taxi drivers or people from all walks of life has picked this same person up at the same time. So this again is a spirit trapped in between two worlds. Do they have influence? Yes, they do. They can influence us all the time. They can influence us in a way that if they're not happy with their life and they died, they're not going to be happy in your life, in what you're doing if you come into the property. So I've mentioned this before. When I was married to my first wife, within a space of 3 months, we split up, and we were like this before. And the reason why we split up could have been twofold. One, it could have been that she didn't want to be with anymore. Two, there could have been an influence in that house. So the lady next door told us, or told me, that whoever moved into that house split up from their partner every time. And she was in her 80s and she'd been there years and she'd seen it happen. And I laughed at her and I said, oh no, we're like this. We worked together. We were hairdressers and we got on so well. So point being is, there is an influence by spirit trapped in between two worlds. Are there spirit trapped in between two worlds who are okay? Very much so. I've been in many houses where actually people have said to me, I don't want the spirit to go. We like the spirit. The spirit's lovely. That's true many times. And I've said, okay, well, then I don't want a sage, because sage seems to clear that entity, that spirit away. So I don't want to do that if you like it. Let's just sit down and meditate. And I don't know why you've asked me to come, but well, I'd like to know who it is. Okay, well, I'll sit and try. Sometimes it's very difficult to speak to spirit trapped in between two worlds. It takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of effort. And there's a lot of times that you mess up and you don't get it right. And eventually you get used to that. So over the years, it took me 8 years to figure out how to speak to spirit trapped in between two worlds. So did I speak to the spirit trapped in between two worlds in the house in Ibiza? No, couldn't get through. Wouldn't happen. It was just no way. So I had to cleanse the house. Was there times that I were able to a grandma or a son that had hung himself in that house? Yes. And I would explain in a certain frequency and a certain energy of healing. And it takes time and it takes a lot of effort. And to anybody else, this is crazy. But it's not crazy afterwards. There's many times I've gone into an house and the guy is like, what are we paying for? Why are we doing this? This is ridiculous. And then afterwards, he'll go, oh, it feels different. And then he's changed. He's changed his tune. So straight away, you get people's back up. Straight away, people think you're conning them. Straight away, they think this is all nonsense and hocus pocus because of the program, because of how they program. But it isn't nonsense. It's real, and it happens every day. And I made a prediction that those that would be injected, the chances are of their consciousness and their body becoming more and more separated, and the chances of them going into the spirit world could be much less for many reasons, because of sickness, because of what you're going through, and so on. And I have noticed that because I've got like 188,000 subscribers on YouTube on here, I get a lot of messages throughout the week, and I can see like in a graph how many people are suffering from certain things, and then I make videos to compensate them. This past 4 months has been an accumulation every week of people saying that they're struggling with bad thoughts, they're struggling with sleep patterns, they're struggling with nightmares, they're seeing more weird things in their house, in the skies. Lots of things are happening with lots of people because they're becoming more aware of what's going on. So I made this video and put this live on to maybe answer some questions. And I wanted to give you a background of my working practice as a healer who used to go into houses. And I was the only one really that I never knew anybody else around Spain that did this. So what I did was I used to go into houses and clear houses of negative energies, bad energies, dark energies, entities, ghosts. And that's my job, was predominantly day after day was doing that everywhere. And I was flown all over the world to clear these things from people's houses, churches, pubs, wine bars, you name it. I've been like in nearly every walk of life, farms and so on. So it was my job, and it was a normal job for me. It was like really normal. What I do get upset about sometimes, and I shouldn't, is that people talk about this kind of work and scare the living daylights out of people and make things worse. And they don't have answers because they don't have answers because they don't know, because they've not, they might have done they might have been through one experience, and then they think they know everything. No, you don't know everything. I don't know everything. And I've worked on thousands of people as a healer and as a clearer of negative energy. I don't want to call myself a ghostbuster. I don't want to call myself an exorcist, because that just feeds the negativity. And it isn't such a big deal like people say it is. And there's so many people out there now, I've noticed, jumping onto this bandwagon and starting to abuse this to get more likes. And if I wanted to be that person, I'd have 10 million people watching me now. I could be telling you stuff that everybody wants to know, but that only feeds darkness. So my work was, and this is how spirit used to speak to me, your work is about love, your work is about healing. It's not about scaring people. So I'm a little bit different from a lot of people who may have done it for a couple of years, may have done it for 6 months, may have had 3 or 4 experiences, but I've done it for 12 solid years every day. So, and it's funny how I'm never asked to go on these spiritual big shows. Never. They always ask somebody who has no experience, who just read books and listened to other people. And that's very interesting, because the truth is, they don't want simplicity. They don't want the real truth. They want Hollywood. They want people in a way that's going to expand things and create more chaos and more fear. And as we all know, why is it that so many people like breaking news? Why is it that so many people like the scary movies? So I needed to break that pattern down. No one has the power over you. You are your own guru. You can heal any situation through love and healing and taking care of yourself, looking after yourself with crystals, oils, incense, cleansing yourself daily with Palo Santo, clearing yourself with nice crystals that absorb negative energy. Why do you think I have been teaching this for so many years? Think about it. You think I just do it because it sounds good? He said, flaky. I do it because I know that if you keep yourself at a high frequency, nothing can come into you and nothing can cause any issue or damage in you. It's only when you're broken. That's why they call it breaking news. When you're broken, you then open yourself up to different negative energies. That's why you'll start to you'll feel like a snowball with one thought to the next thought, and eventually you'll get to a negative state where you are putting out a frequency that negative energy attaches to negative energy, positive energy attaches to positive energy. But there are some rules that break that, because sometimes if you're shining a great light, then negative energy sees that and tries to stop that, and it will use people to do that. That's why when I get attacked, okay, oh, spirits in the room. It's my mum. Yeah, she's wow, that was strong. Never forget the power of our spirit world. Never forget how powerful they are. Never forget that they are always there working alongside you, trying to heal you, trying to help you, trying to get you out of that negative energy, trying to put you on your right path, trying to heal you from your trauma, your past. Our spirit world work 24 hours a day, just like darkness does. So don't ever think you're alone. Don't ever think you're alone. Ever. Don't ever let the power of your negative thoughts pull you down. Just call, like just there, just out of nowhere. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming, just to share that little piece of information that I've just given you now, what she said. We forget so easy the spirit world because of darkness. 24 hours a day, darkness, fear, hate, killing, war. Don't forget, guys, break that pattern. The spirit world is there. They love us. Your family is there. They love you, and they are the power that runs through you. They are the gift that runs through you. They are the healing that runs through you. Call upon that energy at any moment. They're there. You've just got to listen carefully. You've got to feel them and hear them. They're always with us. And a simple thought when we're feeling negative, ask your family in spirit to come forward. They'll come. They're there in an instant. They're there in a moment. So that was my opening little talk. that hopefully if you want to look into my work, there's plenty of availability online to show what I've done in the past. And lots of people were kind enough to write reviews after I'd worked with them from all over the world. So I'm not just a talker, I'm a doer. I'm talking now because I've retired. So I'm sharing all the truth that I've known. That's what people do. You work to the point where all your experiences is given then freely to people who want to understand the other side of life. The world itself wants to tell you that all we live in is darkness. They want to tell you that everything is evil, everything is bad, everything is wrong. But trust me, it's not. It's not. It's a lie. It's deliberately manipulated. Darkness has to work so hard, so hard every moment to try and make you feel bad. Okay? All right, guys, I'm going to open up the lines here now, and welcome anybody who wants to ask a question. If you're confused, if I know the answer, I'll tell you. If I don't, I ain't going to bullshit. I'm just going to say I don't know. There's only so much I learn as a healer in 12 years, clearing spirit out of houses. So is there anything that you'd like to ask, please fire away. It's my honor that you're here, and thank you so much for joining me. So I'll start from that one. Yeah. Yeah, all frequency, everything is frequency, everything is energy. So there are certain frequencies you can use. I'm not the person for that. I have singing bowls, I have different chimes, but they were specific to my frequency. And I think that's like a crystal will choose you, a singing bowl will choose you. Because the spirit world knows what you need. So I go on instinct, gut instinct. So if I'm going to a show trying to buy crystals for myself or for my clients, I always listen to what spirit says, my higher intuition, because the spirit world works closely with you every day. And your thoughts are equal to the thoughts of negative entities. So you've got to discern between the two. So for me, when I'm working with spirit, it's really easy. Spirit gives me love and healing and beautiful positive thoughts, never any fear, negativity. All the fear and negativity is normally, of course, darker energies, darker thoughts, but also there is darker thoughts of your own. There's darker thoughts of what you've been through that day. So it's a bit like this. If you're shining your light and I'm pissed off with you because you're shining your light, I'm going to do everything I can to make you feel bad. So I'm going to put things in your way. I'm going to make somebody say something negative about you. And then when you start to feel negative and you start to feel bad, I'm going to start smiling because now you're getting upset. Well, imagine the other worlds, like entities, they feed off that anger, that sadness. Okay. They don't feed off light and love. That burns them. That repels them. Okay. So just giving you some ideas. You don't need to buy my music. It's all free. And if you go to YouTube and type in French Gregorian chants, you should play that music 24 hours a day in the house. Whether you have entities or not, or demonic, whatever it is, just play it in the house because the frequency and the energy of that works. Now, I'm not religious. In fact, if anything, I am really anti-religion. But I realized that religion was infiltrated a long time ago. And there is a lot of truth in the Bible, in monks, but there's some bad monks. I've cleared monks out of people. I've cleared monks out of big houses who were demonic, dark. So nothing's cut and dry in this field of work. Because I used to think it was, but it isn't. The more you work, the year after year you work, you realize that what everybody says, they haven't got a clue. They're only speaking their experience, but there's so many more. So we've got to be open to anything. So There's something about French Gregorian chants that really works when I was clearing out bad energy, bad entities, demonic. It works so well. And a few years ago, I said to Edgar, Edgar, you know, I've been using French Gregorian chants for 12 years now. There's one particular French Gregorian chant that I used to use all the time, and it was, I use tons. I use women, nuns, I use monks, different frequencies, but there were one particular one that I used. And so I sent it to him, and I said, I've got a great idea. When I go into properties and I'm speaking to spirit trapped in between two worlds, I want to do the same thing in a recording studio. Can you embed that conversation and loop it? And he said, yeah, I can do that. So that's why I put it on markbajerski.com and sold it, because it works. Now, it's a very, very heavy, or very not heavy. It takes a lot of your memory. So don't download it in your phone if you're going to go to Mark Bajerski and get it. It's called, I think it's Helping Spirit into the Light. Just don't do that. Do it on your computer, because it takes a lot of, I can't remember what it's called, megabytes. So, but like I said, you don't need to buy it. You can go and get the next best thing and go on to YouTube and type in French Gregorian chants and play that music. It's fabulous. French Gregorian chants. That's it. And just listen to what frequency feels right, which works with you. Yeah, of course. Now, when somebody dies traumatically, it is not always the case that they don't go into the light. That's not true. I've never said that. I've said that I have noticed that if it's a car accident, if somebody's hung themselves, sometimes I can go into houses and say, oh, they've gone, they're not here. Or I can say, okay, I can still feel them here. So it's not always the case. I have been to many houses, and this is verified by many people. I've said, and I've traveled all over the world and said, nope, nothing here. It's beautiful. I don't need to do anything. And a lot of the times, I don't know if you know this, but there's been people trying to fool me and trying to catch me out. Well, they can't. It's never happened, because I don't lie and I don't need money. So I didn't do it for money. I did it for love and experience. So I'd go to people's houses, or I'd start reading for somebody, right? And that somebody would send a message, right? Or put it somewhere that I'd see it about that person who was coming for a reading. And I'd laugh and I'd know what they were doing. And I'd think, that's pathetic, right? And at one time I'd say, I'm sorry, I can't read for you now because you've put all your information up in front of my face. So I'm not the person for you. I want somebody who comes to me with a blank canvas so I can read for you and feel the energy and see if you've got any issues within your body. So I don't know if anybody is on here who knew me 20 years ago, but my website says, if you contact Mark Bajerski, only contact him with the first name. And I did that deliberately, because I don't want to be influenced. Don't tell me anything. People used to say I was rude when they met me. Please don't talk. Please don't say anything. I did it because I didn't want to hear. I don't want to be influenced. So after the reading, you go away and you go, shit, how did he know all of that? Because they're trying to process it in the thinking mind. How did he know that? How is that possible? He doesn't even know who I am, right? So now you're opening them up to the possibility that there's more to life than eating, drinking, sleeping, and working. Anyway, sidetracked. Hi, Brendan. Lovely to see you. Brendan, one of my favorite loving souls. You inspire me. Yeah. Mark, when spirit comes in, it's a great thing. But do you think some of these YouTube channelers actually interfere with souls when they are at peace? I don't believe at all that souls at peace can be interfered with. You can't interfere with positive energy. You can't interfere with spirit that have gone home. You can only interfere, or I would say, connect with the wrong energies, the wrong entities that may appear to be who you think you're talking to. But there's a lot of the time. This is why you've got. I was so lucky because whenever I read, I could feel something starting to try to connect to me, and I would brush it aside and not allow it to come anywhere near. And I teach this in tarot readings. I teach in this that you go, and I do it in a way that I don't say anything, and I share with you how to look into things and how to look towards finding, let's say, the answer to the problem. I share with people, don't ever touch the cards if you're feeling negative, if you're feeling bad, right? These reasons why is because if you start doing anything in a negative way, there's a chance that you're going to start to pull in negative thoughts, negative energies, negative entities. Okay. So when we move into the light, we are part of the ocean. We are pure. That you cannot kill the consciousness, which is pure and in the spirit world. You can interfere with the consciousness before it goes into the ocean, and by way of causing lies, manipulations, by saying that, if you believe in religion, that you're going to go to hell. So then you fear the light because somebody might tell you that the light is dark and it's a trap. So there's so many things that will put us in between two worlds. Now that is a denser energy that can be interfered, that can interfere, that can cause issue. But no, there's no such thing as this word at peace, because when when you are of light, you are of light. There is no peace, there is no time, there is no space, there is no feeling good or bad. It's a constant energy frequency. And the only thing I feel with the spirit world, meaning that beautiful ocean of all of us, which we're all drops in there, is that every time we go back into that ocean, we feed it with our experience of how we overcome suffering. So the ocean grows stronger in wisdom and knowledge through experience, good or bad, if that makes any sense. Yeah, converted churches, I think, was probably one of my biggest go-tos in the world. When you think about the amount of pain and suffering, it's equal to hospitals. So hospitals and converted churches were probably my biggest working week. So the thing is, most people don't know how to sage. That's the truth. Converted churches, you can only do one room. Okay, so the problem is you can't do all the rooms. So the entity, the spirit trapped in between two worlds, can simply shift across the room. Now, you might say to me, well, hang on a minute. If they can shift across the room, surely they can shift outside. I don't know. That baffled me. Why is it that after I did a full house cleansing up and down everywhere in that house, why is it that I never had to go back? So I don't know whether the walls mean anything because they move through the walls, but could it be, it's only a thought, could it be that air cannot be contaminated if it's free and flowing with the molecules and Mother Earth, Mother Nature, always breathing its love and healing? But inside a house, if you've got negative thoughts, negative energy, you hurt each other, you say bad things, you're watching crap telly, could it be that that energy attaches to the walls? And could it be that spirit can't go further because of that denseness of negative energy? It's a thought. I don't have the answer. But what I can honestly say from the bottom of my heart is that when I learned to sage properly, which most people don't know how to do, when I learned to sage properly, every single corner, every single drawer, everywhere, that entity or negative energy disappeared. So people come to me, yeah, but what about next door? What about my my fire alarm? I don't know. I don't have the answer to any of those things. Maybe you can cover your fire alarm. Maybe you can knock on next door neighbor's door in your church and say, look, are you feeling negative at all? Yes, I am. Why don't we all come together and just say, look, there's a guy who has mentioned that this can help clear the house and it's sage, but we need to do every single room, every toilet, every basement, up in the loft. It's got to be everywhere. And we've got to make the smoke look like that you can't even breathe in it. And leave it in there for 1 to 2 hours, then come back and open all the doors and windows and let that negative energy out through the smoke. That would be my suggestion. But, you know, I get a lot of questions when I get really frustrated because stop asking me everything. Start to think for yourself, right? I'm just a normal lad, right? I'm just a normal guy. I don't know all the answers. I can share certain things with you, but you're going to have to think yourself. Why? Because your circumstance is going to be different from all of my circumstances. So I'm not going to give you the right answer. And if somebody says that they've got the answers to everything, run a mile, go away. Don't even listen to them. Okay? You need to attune yourself because ultimately, when you're saging with the power of love. You're saging with knowing that this is all going to be fantastic. Your power is like walking into that house with sage and saying, I'm going to clear everything out of this house because I am the power. I am the answer to this. All of these things and prayers and nice words and beautiful music, right? Everything that you do in a positive way is going to add to the chances of negative energy or darkness or demonic, whatever you want to call it, will disappear. So I'm hated by a lot of the spiritual community because I put it into simple terms and say, well, actually, that never happened to me. And actually, we can clear it really easy. They don't like it. They don't like me saying that. Why is that? Why wouldn't you like somebody saying that? Isn't the most simplest thing the answer? No, we like to dramatize things. We like people to listen to us and follow us. No, the answer is normally quite simple. So yeah, I get attacked quite a lot. But frequency, music, I'm not into religion, but read some of my books. Today I've got a beautiful soul coming. So I'm going to finish off shortly. And she's coming in 1 hour. And she's the beautiful soul in my book that for some reason, years ago, I'm going to ask her to talk about it as well. When she comes, she doesn't know, but I'm going to ask her to talk about it so you can relate back to this and listen to the conversation. She's never had an interview with me before. So for some reason, she went to Portugal and went to Fatima, and she was a client of mine, and she didn't know why, but she came back with a bottle. And this was years ago when I first started. She came back with a bottle and it got Mother Mary on. And I'm like, okay. And I thanks very much. I love you, but I'm not religious, but thanks very much. Stuck it on the shelf. And a week later, a woman came upstairs screaming and eyes rolling and saying crazy stuff and doing like, oh my God, this is like freaky. And all of a sudden I'm doing the healing work on her. I get thrown back by the energy that is attached to her. Now, this happened quite a few times. That energy does. It has strength. It has power sometimes. It can push. It can pull. It can do many things. Of course it can. No problem. I spun round because it pushed me. And as I spun round, my eyes focused on this bottle. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this can't be serious. Is this real? So I opened the bottle and threw it on. I poured it all over her forehead and throat. And she starts screaming and it was getting her angry and like, wow, that something's really working here. So that's how I got into that as well. It's all organic. It's fascinating. And then you realize it's got nothing to do with a priest. Anybody can bless water. Anybody can get water from sacred pure sources and use it to cleanse and clear yourself. And I use it every day. I've got it here all over. I use it every day. I've got bottles over here. So anyway, yeah, it'll be nice having a conversation with this lovely lady. My voice is going now, so I have to be careful because I need to talk to her. You're most welcome, Brandon. Love you, soul. You're a beautiful energy. One day I'd love to meet you and to do an interview here. I don't know what the hertz are, but I would definitely recommend trying different hertz all the time and using different frequencies, because I feel that certain frequencies heal certain things, just like crystals. Some crystals vibrate at a certain frequency, and I can give you that same crystal and it might also work differently on a different part of your body. So not everything is 100%. So when you might think to yourself, oh, you know, these hertz, this is going to work. I know some people who tried them hertz and it didn't work for them. So it's not always 100%. So you've got to work, you've got to use what works for you. So you've got to be open-minded. This is how I learn. Don't take everybody's word as gospel, but utilize what they've said and see and try. It's all trial and error with this kind of work. See you later. They are. Hi. Oh, thank you, Fiona. It's very kind. Do my best. I do. I'm sure you do as well. I don't work with pendulums because I don't really know them, but I think anything that you work with on a high frequency is going to work. And charging water, to me, is a combination of the good energy in the house, because if you've got good energy in your house, then it's going to be good energy in the water. Obviously, you know, if you've got crystals around your water, it's going to be good energy. If you get your water from a beautiful, pure source, it's going to be brilliant. If you put your hands around that water when you're feeling happy and joyful, it's going to be amazing. So all of these things that I utilized, it wasn't just one thing. I tried everything because I'm that kind of person. There's nothing more powerful than love. And ultimately, that's the place you go back to. Always end up back to love. Always, always. Does anybody know what the frequency of love is? You see, if you think about that in itself, how deep is that? Because what is love? Is love a child's energy? Is love you scoring a goal and feeling amazing? Is love a hug? I believe that love comes in so many different frequencies, just like negativity. Morning. I want to thank you, Mark. Since you crossed my path, you have helped me. Now, you've helped yourself, Sammy. You've helped yourself. You can listen to 1,000 people, but you help yourself. You just heard something from somebody else. It resonated and you took action and you did it all yourself. Nobody else did it. So embrace that. Be thankful as I'm thankful for you. Barry's tea. Good one. I don't really drink Barry's tea. I was just kidding him. Thank you. Northern Light 88. Thanks very much. Much appreciated that. We all seem to be dreaming more vividly. And this is the reason why the veil is breaking. The veil is breaking more and more because of we are, as humanity, interfering with it, whether it's CERN, whether it's DARPA, look, I believe a lot of these people don't even know what they're doing and they don't mean to. I don't believe Musk knows what he's doing, and that interference by putting thousands of satellites up there and causing the damage in the world. So, you know, a lot of people get me wrong, right? I just think that a lot of us don't know what we're doing sometimes out of mistakes, and that happens. But we have to be able to put our hand up and say, you know what, something isn't feeling right, something's not right, things are happening and things are changing, people are doing things, people are strange, people are saying the most crazy things, people are believing the most crazy things. Well, why is that? Something is changing. And I said, soon as CERN started with that kaleidoscope, soon as they started doing it, they stopped mentioning using it now. They started saying when they were switching it on. But the problem with that is that many people who understand frequency were saying that the frequency of the earth changed. There was a massive shift. So now they know that. They then stopped telling people. And then now they started telling people when they're switching it on, when they're not. So all of it is a lie, and they do it deliberately. But when you watch things like Strange Things, which I don't want you to watch, when you watch things that are there as a telegram to tell you what they're doing, it's because it's part of the satanic cult. I don't mean satanic in the sense of a devil, but it's a kind of cult religion. We have to tell you what we're doing so that we can do it. And it's part of that kind of cult. It's the club. That's how it works, if you believe that or not. Greetings. Nice. There's an argument, by the way, about this frequency. There's a lot of people who say it's a completely different frequency to that. There's so many people who believe there's different frequencies, which leads me to believe that each of us has our own frequency of love. Understand that or not? Maybe not. Love is a universal frequency. It's all around. That's absolutely right. It's our choice if we want to want or give it. It's absolutely right. And we all vibrate at different frequencies. So does that make you less of love than me? No, not at all. We are unique individual frequencies that can vibrate at a frequency of love. But I believe it's a different frequency. Your love frequency is different from mine. This is how I see it. And this is why a lot of people don't like my work, because then they say to me, well, that's bullshit, because this is the frequency. This is how it works. I'm like, whoa, calm down. Jesus Christ. I'm only just sharing what I don't scream and shout at you. I don't say that you're wrong. I'm just saying that maybe we just don't, none of us really understand anything about this, and we're still learning. Yeah. I give vibration to food and water. You know how many people don't actually eat food? Most people just swallow it. They don't even understand what it is. They don't even know what they're eating. They don't even think what they're eating. And part of eating food should be a ritual. Each mouthful of a single fruit or a single vegetable should be felt, and you can attune to what it's feeding and what it's healing. You know, the reason why so many people get dementia is because they don't eat real food anymore. Real food has all the minerals, all the vitamins that you need. Okay, so when you're like, if you think about dementia, for instance, what I learned about that is that when I spoke to a lot of my clients, I asked them about food. And guess what they ate? Processed food. I never met one person with dementia personally, and there might be people out there who had a high rate of eating bananas, spinach, and things with like vitamin D, which is very, very profound. They didn't have any at all intake of, let's say, coconut oil, raw coconut oil, and nuts. Their food was dreadful. Did they drink a lot of water? Hardly any water, right? So the reason why we're becoming more sick is because, one, there is no food anymore. Two, they've poisoned all the fruit and vegetables so that you can't get the natural food from it. There's three things that happen with food, with eating, and most people don't even understand this. The first thing, when you eat, if you eat to fill the belly, that is called just eating. That's just putting something in your mouth. So let's call that processed foods. So you eat it and you think you're eating a good meal. No, all you're doing is filling the belly. But now the belly is not actually getting anything from it. It's only feeding it, and it's trying its best to get the natural food from it. But there's no natural food there. It's been cooked out. There's nothing natural. It's all preservatives. It's all colorings. It's all shite. But you fill the stomach, so the stomach now can at least try and grab something from it. 2, you get fruit and vegetables, and you eat fruit and vegetables. Each fruit has a frequency that heals a certain part of the body. So you are actually eating not food, but you are eating medicine. And 3 is the most profound, which you'll never hear about this ever, because they don't want you to know. 3 is the most amazing, because it feeds the energy. It feeds the prana, the chi, the life force. When you pick a piece of fruit from the ground, from a tree, it has 30 minutes where it holds on to its life force. So you eat its life force, and you eat its beautiful medicine. When you strengthen the life force, it is so powerful. It is so immense that they don't want you to know this. That's why they don't want you to go picking fruit. They don't want you to eat fruit and vegetables that are fresh, instant, in the moment. They don't tell you to do that. They want to preserve it as long as they can. So they're going to preserve it by all means necessary. Kill the truth of the fruit. Turn it into Monsanto. Kill it so that there's not once. It looks like a fruit, but it's no longer a fruit. So you're not getting no medicine from it. So now you create illness. That's how illness is created. The cells in my body felt like they were exploding. Exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like it is so profound that nobody will talk about it. Nobody. They will cancel you out. They will make sure that you don't know anything about it. I call it the magic half hour. I tell you guys, if you just do it once a week, your energy field will explode, and it's amazing. I could talk about that for an hour, but I'm going to go now. Wonderful. Anything that you can do to raise the frequency right now with your food, do it. So I guess that's it, guys. I was guided by spirit to grow my own food. Me too. It's hard work, but oh my God, the rewards are incredible. All right, guys, I'm wishing you all a lovely day. I hope you enjoyed it. And it's just another little chat to share with you, to think about, all the things that we go through. Hi, Jason. You're right, mate. Absolutely. 100%. Totally. And I think people are waking up to that more and more. Love you all. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, everybody. Gillette, thank you so much. Bonnie, thank you, everybody. I hope I haven't missed anybody out. Love you all. And please watch out for the next video that comes out on Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. It's with a beautiful Peruvian lady who, just wait till you see her and hear her. You'll understand what love is. Take care. Bye, guys. Love you all. Have a great day. Bye.